quite spectacular
Yeah.
to see. Giant Mechazilla arms catching a rocket in midair, and then those arms put it back on the launch site, so you can have the booster back on the launch mount it's gonna come back and land in like 5 or 6 minutes.
Right.
So then you'll probably get it back on the launch site in, well, if you really push it, you can probably get it back on the launch site in 10 minutes.
Right.
Or even 5 minutes. And then you can fill it up in half an hour. So you could be ready to go an hour later from the booster standpoint. And then if you've got ships lined up, you can drop another ship on, fill it with propellant, and in theory, you could be launching every couple hours.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine now, but it was hard to imagine where Falcon 9 is today. 10 years ago, no one would have imagined what Falcon 9 is doing now. So I think time will tell that you can just keep chipping away at all those little improvements. And so, do you think you'll actually fly?
Falcon 9 used to have reusability measured in months, then weeks, then days. And then for Falcon 9, the architecture is limited to, you really can't compress it down less than several days.
Right.
When you take the landing out to sea and then the necessary refurbishment of the booster that is required. So with Starship, we'll take it from days to hours.
Wow.
Do you think? So then the ship has to go around the Earth, and depending upon what orbit it has, it's got to have a ground track that comes back over the launch site.
Right.
So that could take several orbits. So the ship could take several hours, sometimes half a day or something like that to come back.
To reline, yeah.
Yeah. So you'd want to have a lot more ships than boosters.
Yeah.
So if you're really going for max launch rate, you probably want roughly 5 ships for every booster. Yeah.
And that's what you guys are building a pretty massive cadence here of ships and boosters already.
Yeah.
Now, do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's pretty slow compared to what it will be, like very slow. But we're also iterating the design, so each one is a little different from, in some cases, a lot different from the last one.
Yeah. Are any of these Are any of these going to be the V2 yet? Are we starting to get close to some V2 hardware yet, or?
Yeah. The stretch version is basically V2. Well, I guess it depends on whether we call it V2 or don't call it V2. The slightly stretched version is V2, ugly. So, yeah. So you can see, what we have here is a Starship with, you've seen the heat shield side and the non-heat shield side.
Yep.
It's got the what we call the PEZ dispenser for tossing out the next generation Starlink satellites, the V3 satellites. So those will be very wide diameter, like sort of 7-meter diameter satellites.
Yeah.
So 22 feet or something like that.
Right.
So
are these actually going to be are we hoping to see, after, let's say this test goes well tomorrow, do you think the next one's actually going to go for orbit and start deploying testing out, trying to deploy Starlink, or where do you think we're in that whole mix? Is that maybe a few more down the road to start actually deploying payloads into orbit?
We'll see how this mission goes. I mean, this year is not about delivering satellites for Starship. It's all about ironing out the design question marks.
Mm-hmm.
So the major things that remain to be solved for Starship, the single biggest one is what does it take to get through the high heating of reentry? Mm-hmm. So you can see the heat shield that we have there. We have some, let's say unsolved questions on the heat shield, a bunch of which we don't even know that they are questions. And some we're aware of because there have been challenges in the past, like with Space Shuttle, the sort of the hinge area and the hinge gap, and sealing that hinge gap and not having hot gas just go flowing super fast through
The
the
interface there.
yeah through well at where the flap hinge is.
Yep.
Because if you get hot gas flowing through rapidly, that'll cook anything,
Yeah.
including the tiles. So you've got a block. We've got a hot gas seal at the forward and rear flap hinge, and so one of the key questions is, does that seal work?
Right.
We think it'll work, but it may not work. Then there are some, questions of like how well do the tiles stay on?
Right.
There's a fundamental challenge here where the tiles are ceramic, so they're very brittle. They're like a coffee cup
Right.
or a dinner plate.
Yeah.
So you've got essentially a whole bunch of dinner plates stuck to a steel surface. The steel surface is getting cryogenically cold because of the propellants, so it's shrinking.
Yeah.
So on ascent, the rocket has shrunk.
Yep.
So you can't have the gaps in the tiles be too tight, or they will just shatter against
Yeah,
each other.
yeah.
The gap will be too tight.
Yep.
Then when it's coming in for landing, the shuttle, you no longer have the cryogenic propellant in the main tanks, and the tiles get very hot.
Yep.
So now they want to expand.
Yep.
So you've got a contracted inner surface and expanding tiles.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Right. So now, and the thing is, like, you can't have a big tile gap because then the plasma will get in there and melt the primary structure behind it.
Exactly.
So like, what's the right